Another of the featured speakers this weekend, just the highest class of people you're going to get together at one location for an event, is Michael Cremo. Michael has books. Doesn't have a dozen books, 24 books. He's got key books, important books. The Forbidden Archaeologist was the first one. Then Forbidden Archaeology, which we've talked about this for a long time, also known as The Hidden History of the Human Race, probably the more common title of it. His new book is called My Science, My Religion by Michael A. Cremo. Michael is a friend of this program. I'd like to consider him a friend of mine. He's been, I don't know how many years ago it was when he was first on, maybe 15, something like that, a long time ago. He continues to be one of the most extraordinary people at work on this planet, trying to roll back the lies and obfuscation that we are constantly being faced with and created nonstop by the powers that be. He's a world-renowned expert in archaeological evidence for extreme human antiquity, all right, and also alternate theories of human origins. Again, my favorite book, I haven't read his current one, is The Hidden History of the Human Race, which is a smaller version of a larger book. This idea, and we talked about this last hour with Michael Tellinger a bit, that this planet has been inhabited by either humans or humanoids or other forms of intelligent life, probably for the majority of its 4.5 billion year history, is one that is gaining slowly, but certainly in our community, in our world, in a more quick fashion, more and more credibility. There is an enormous history to this planet that people have no idea about. Just taking humans and their history and what Michael Cremo has found is enough to rock anybody back on their wallets. I mean, it is a story that is screaming to be told to everyone, and yet not everyone knows about it. But hopefully this weekend will help, and this program will help. And say hello to Michael Cremo. Welcome back, Michael.
Good to be back, Jeff, and with all your listeners.
Don't know how it's been so many years, but when did the first book come out?
Forbidden Archeology was my first book. That came out in 1993, and then in 1994 I started doing radio interviews about it with Art Bell originally, and a woman named Laura Lee,
sure,
a show out of Seattle.
Yeah,
and
wonder what happened to Laura. Yeah, and then you were on here.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started doing those shows, your show and the rest of them, I felt like I was jumping out of an airplane with no parachute, but
yeah.
Now that I've done it a few times, I feel a little more comfortable with it.
You've done it a lot. And what we have to go on now is so important, and more. What you have done is inspire more and more people to begin looking past the limit that has been artificially erected for us by, again, the powers that want us to be constantly under their thumb, under their boot, under their control. We have a new book now, My Science, My Religion. It's a very interesting book, which is grounded in ancient Indian history. I know you have a very great knowledge of that. Tell us about the new book a little bit.
Well, many people think that in the world of science today, you can't bring in anything from some spiritual or religious source. But I've been very open about my work being inspired by my studies in the ancient Sanskrit writings of India, which, for example, speak of very ancient human civilizations on this planet going back millions of years. It's open-minded scientists that there are out there to get invited to make presentations at international scientific conferences, meetings of the World Archaeological Congress, the European Association of Archaeologists, other mainstream scientific gatherings. And what this latest book is, My Science, My Religion, it's a collection of 24 papers that I've been able to present at mainstream scientific conferences. So for the people who are interested in how I present these things in those circles, they might be interested in having a look at that book. And I'm very open about the spiritual inspiration for what I'm doing. So, well, in the writings of other wisdom traditions as well. It's not anything that's exclusive to the ancient Sanskrit text. And by my science, I mean scientific evidence that is consistent with what these ancient wisdom, human antiquity, but about, say, the existence of spacecraft in ancient times. The ancient Sanskrit writings speak about vimanas or extraterrestrial beings and things of that sort. So,
and of course, we also have physical evidence of certainly some massive events, nuclear wars potentially, in the ancient days. Looks like we haven't learned a whole lot, but
so many people, including professional scientists, will find it quite surprising that I've been able to make these presentations, and sometimes they're published in peer-reviewed scientific publications, books, and journals. So, for those out there that are interested in how I present these things in those scientific circles, they may want to have a look at this latest book.
Oh, it sounds fascinating. I mean, I wish I had time to sit down and go through it myself. I remember talking. This had to be 1994 when you were first on then, so that would make it a long time ago, further than I thought back. But we talked about how the archaeological community, the entrenched archaeological establishment, was so dangerous for young archaeologists to challenge, and how careers were just dashed to pieces for people finding things and then standing on them and pushing them, saying, hey, this doesn't work. Your timeline is wrong. And there were careers that were destroyed.
Yes, that's an absolute fact. One of them, probably the most famous case, and to my knowledge, was the case of Virginia Steen-McIntyre, who has a young PhD in geology, was called to an archaeological site in Mexico called Huehuetlaco, where some archaeologists had uncovered stone tools and weapons, and they wanted to know how old they were, so they brought a team of geologists from the United States Geological Survey and the geology departments of different universities to come down and date the site. And among those geologists was Virginia Steen-McIntyre, and she and her colleagues used 4 different scientific methods to date the site, and they came up with an age of about 300,000 years. Now, the current dominant theory is there's no humans in North America until less than 20,000 years ago, no humans anywhere in the world until less than 200,000 years ago. So the archaeologists just refused to accept this, but Virginia Steen-McIntyre and her colleagues independently published the age for the site. But when they did that, they experienced this extreme negative backlash from their colleagues, and because of that, her career in geology was finished because she had dared to publish something that contradicted the dominant theories.
Well, the danger of rocking the boat. Hopefully it's not as bad as it was, but still, the boundaries are there, and those who come up through the ranks are quite aware of them. We
first of all have to really understand what a human being is. Now, today, many scientists are going to say a human being or any other living thing is just a machine made of molecules. That's all there is to it. And in terms of what we call consciousness, they would say, well, if you combine the molecules in the brain in a sufficiently complex way, then it generates what we call consciousness, but only temporarily and only in association with the brain. As soon as the molecules become disorganized at the time of death, there'd be no more consciousness. However, I don't accept that idea. I think consciousness has its own independent existence, apart from matter, apart from molecules.
Well, let's hope so.
And as conscious beings, as individual, conscious, intelligent beings, we have an origin on some higher level of reality that I call the level of pure consciousness. So in that sense, all of us are extraterrestrial beings,
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that as conscious selves, we originally existed on some higher level of reality. Now, because we could no longer exist in that original harmonious state, where all conscious beings exist in loving harmony with each other and with the source of all conscious beings,
Mm-hmm.
we have come to this level of reality to act out our desires. And we need vehicles. And those vehicles are what we call bodies. And there are different types of vehicles because there are different conscious cells with different types of desires. So there are human vehicles, plant vehicles, insect vehicles, bird vehicles, different kinds of animal vehicles. But it's not limited just to this earth. I think we exist in a multi-level cosmos. Some of the levels of the cosmos are dominated by the denser energies. We're in one level of the cosmos that's dominated by the denser energies. So our bodily vehicles are made of gross material elements, carbon, iron, calcium, phosphorus, all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other levels of the cosmos that are dominated by more subtle energies and elements. And there are entities that inhabit that realm as well. And they have something to do with the production of the vehicles on this level of reality, the vehicles that we call bodies. The bodies on this level, according to different ancient wisdom traditions, among them the ancient Sanskrit writings of India, are generated by these higher beings who make use of what in Sanskrit are called bijas, or seeds, in order to initially manifest the different types. Now, once the different types of vehicles are produced, the human vehicles, the plant vehicles, the other types of animal vehicles, they go on to reproduce themselves. So I think as conscious beings, we're all extraterrestrials. And as far as our physical vehicles, our bodies are concerned, they were originally produced by extraterrestrial beings. So that's what I meant when I said there's an extraterrestrial dimension to our origin on this planet.
I understand.